And welcome back. Great highlights there from yesterday here at Colorado Beach for the Nicaragua ISA World Masters Surfing Championship. Of course, we are here in a wonderful country and some very special guests this morning. It's the Latin American Special. And very, very happy to have ISA President Fernando Aguerre here. Sebastian Galindo, two-time Argentinian champion, and from Venezuela, former Latin American champion, man who's been on the cover of Surfer magazine, Magnum, Martinez. Firstly, Fernando, both these guys have very, very interesting stories.
Yes, I thought it was a great idea to have them together because they represent, kind of like a big picture of the different ways to become a Latin American surfing star. In the case of Magnum, he was born in Venezuela. He surfed with the Venezuelan team the first time, and then I say in 1996, he was 22. And eventually moved to California, spent quite a bit of time in California. He became proficient in English. I mean, you can listen to him talking, he's very bilingual. And is one of the most recognized faces in Latin America. On the other hand, you got Sebastian, Galindo, a family of surfers from Argentina, which is a very small surfing country, the southest most part of Latin America. Father surfed, mother surfed, all brothers surfed. And as you say, a couple times Argentinian champion, served the first time the ISA World Championship in '92 as a very young 21-year-old or 23-year-old, huh? 23-year-old, and eventually he didn't want to go anywhere. He wanted to stay in Argentina. He wanted to make a career in the most unlikely of surfing destinations, Argentina. So he became a shaper of his own boards. Started shaping boards, shaped many boards. He's right now the most prolific and the most recognizable shaper in Argentina. And with his brother and a brother-in-law, they started a company called Camarón Brujo, which means like a witch shrimp or something like that. It's with a funky logo, and they became an iconic brand. It's the #1 domestic brand in Argentina. And with a very strong following, and he has put an emphasis, not so much as many brands which are like coming from, like Vila, Quicksilver, O'Neill, that all have representatives there, but a brand that has a big emphasis on Latin America, on the roots of Latin America, values of Latin America. So I just wanted to, have both of them here because I thought they bring a different perspective of the challenges of being a Latin and the pros and cons of moving to California, myself being one of them too. No?
Yeah. Well, great stories there. Firstly, Magnum, I'll start with you. Perhaps you could share with people at home the development of surfing in Venezuela, because you've got a very strong team here. You're a very well supported team. You've got a lot of support around you. But the development of the sport seems to have happened fairly quickly over the last decade. Perhaps you could give some insight into that development.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say thanks for having me here, and it's an honor to be with these two guys here that I've known forever and next to you. Anyways, back to that subject, it is Venezuela went through like a really strange like up and down in surfing, and then when I started surf in the late 90s, it was really, there was a big hype, and then there was big events, and there was over 100 people going in the open division and the national events. So no money, just national amateur events, and the level was super high. We had people like Peter Rangel, Abraham Longa, Enrique Aular, Sergio Martins, like surfing like super good. And then everything kind of faded away into the mid to late 90s. And at that time I was living in Venezuela, in California. And then it kind of, things started picking up again, like in 2000, maybe mid 2000s. And then now the government really like it's standing behind sports, in general. And surfing being one of them. Also, in a kind of strange area, because it's not like it's like a non how do you call it, like it's non-traditional sport, so it always takes a little longer to get the backing that it deserves. So but now we're getting it, and it's definitely making a big difference, because we're able to take all our teams, the juniors, the opens, the masters, to all these events and compete against the best nations and the best talents, and and do other things too, training and hire coaches with, you know, higher degrees and all this stuff. So things are definitely looking up for us.
And what do you think that the ISA events have done for the development of surfing in Venezuela and other Latin American countries, and how much more visible is surfing now in Venezuela?
Well, yeah, I remember the first Pan American Games were in Margarita, if I'm not mistaken, 93, and I wasn't in the team. I really wanted to be, but I you know, my level of surfing wasn't up to par then, and it was really amazing to be there. I was there. I witnessed the whole thing, and it was amazing. And ever since that time, at least personally, I was like, yeah, I want to be in the team. I want to do good, and I want to better myself. So it is definitely the ISA, and throughout all the years, I ended up making a final in I never forget, in Rio in the Pan American Games. I got third with 3 Brazilians, and then 97, I believe. And then, so there's all these events in my life, and I can speak personally, but also I'm sure I can speak for my teammates in Venezuela that have, you know, helped our careers and our perspective in the surfing, you know, world, and make us try to be better and become better and more professional. And the same with the team, you know, now as a team, we want to come here and get a medal, jump in the podium, you know, and that's it. You know, it turns into a different thing, because it's not only just yourself. It's like, okay, as a team, we want to get a medal. You know, this is important. We want to be in the podium. And last year in the ISAs and the Opens in Panama, we almost did it, and we just, you know, Argentina actually did it, yeah. Which it was amazing, because I think it's maybe the first time too as a team. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and I'm friends with most of them and really good friends. So for me, it was like, wow, this is powerful, and it's very amazing.
Yeah, it's great to see the passion that Venezuela has. And I do have another question for you, but ask Sebastian first. Sebastian, for you, and I should actually mention, not many people know this, but when Sebastian first represented Argentina in 1992 in the open category, Fernando Aguerre was the longboarder in that team, so competed in that team. But Sebastian, for you as a surfboard shaper, how much do you think that shaping your own boards contributes to your performance in the water?
Antes que nada voy a hacer un saludo para todos y un agradecimiento por haber estado acá. Voy a hablar un poco en español. Fernando me va a traducir un poco también.
Before anything, I want to make just thank everybody for being here, and I want to talk in Spanish, and Fernando's going to translate for me.
Lo voy a hacer para el público latino también. Realmente hoy es una ventaja importante conocerme y conocer a algunos de los participantes que están corriendo con mis tablas o con nuestras tablas. Es una ventaja hoy y ha sido una desventaja cuando empezamos. En el 92, cuando éramos miembros del equipo con Fernando, estaba empezando a hacer tablas y realmente no teníamos la performance que hoy podemos tener hace unos cuantos años.
I think, it's very important to relate to what, shaping your own boards right now is great for me, because I know myself, I know what I need on a board, so I know I can go and shape it, and I know my riders, I know what they're riding, so I can go and understand what they need, and then, continue to evolve the boards. But what today is an advantage, it was a big disadvantage at the beginning, because of course when I went to France in 1992, I was a very young shaper and my boards weren't that good compared to what they are now, so that at that time was pulling me down, not pushing me up.
And for Argentina has done so well over the last couple of years. A medal last year at the World, at the Masters, and of course at the World Surfing Games in Panama, the first ever gold medal by Santiago Muniz. So there must be a lot of energy for surfing in Argentina at the moment, and there seems to be a lot of passion.
Aquí tenemos, gracias a Dios, al responsable de una buena parte del suceso, de la evolución que ha tenido el deporte en Argentina. Fernando ha sido un gran emprendedor que le ha devuelto, le ha dado las ganas o ha de alguna forma abierto lo que es el espectro de surfistas en Argentina, haciendo campeonatos, invirtiendo en el deporte, y bueno, eso ha dado resultado unos cuantos años después.
We have the luck that having Fernando that has invested a lot of time and money in developing the sport in Argentina, from running contests and working at different areas, and of course that has made a great end result in Argentina. Right now, surfing is very popular. ¿Continuar?
Sí. Bueno, lo del año pasado tiene que ver con la energía también que se pone en estos Juegos ISA, donde ha invertido el país en traer coachings o coaches de otros lados, como de Brasil o de Australia. Es algo que es un proyecto que se está haciendo más serio a futuro, y yo creo que eso es parte del secreto de la evolución del país.
He's also very happy that Argentina, the Argentina Association has gotten better and has brought coaches from Brazil and Australia, and there is more coming in the future. So in reality, you raise the floor of surfing in Argentina. I wanted to mention something that I think it was very important, which is probably it's a big novelty for English speakers, English listeners, which is Argentina, unlike the US and just like Venezuela, Peru, and Europe, and many countries in the world, in all those governments there is a sports minister, just like you have a economy minister or education minister or interior or foreign relations minister. You got a sports minister. Governments everywhere in the world believe that sports is not what it used to be 100 years ago, which were rights for a few rich people. Sports are a human right. So basically sports contribute to the development of individual and of society. And at all levels, in all governments, like Peru has money supporting the team, Venezuela, the team is funded by the Venezuelan government, Argentina, there is a high performance center and a small tax put on every cell phone in Argentina, which is 1%, which goes to a joint administration of high performance center, Minister of Sports and Olympic Committee in Argentina. Ecuador is a big oil exporting country. They have royalties from oil coming. The Minister of Sports in Ecuador gets $200 million to develop sport in Ecuador. So you see, that is really, when you put that next to surfing, that is really becoming a springboard for surfing in Latin America right now. And I think the reason why you don't see more non-Brazilian Latin American, Brazil has, the sport has, and the industry has developed huge already for the last 20 years, is because the surfers haven't been able to organize and connect well with the government. But now that is happening for the first time in many countries. And I think the next 10 years are going to see an explosion, not just of surfing in general in Latin America, but of good quality surfing. And then, just like in the case of Sebastian, or even Magnum, an opportunity to work in that culture, in that industry, and create a place where you don't need to work in a bank, to work in a corporate office. You can be a surfer and work as a surfer all your life.
Well, we've seen the results of sports funding in Australia. As a small nation, they always do very well at the Olympics because they have a sports minister as well. So it's great to hear that that's coming into this sport as well. We have a very special day today, Fernando, because this afternoon we're going to do the first two semi-finals of the Aloha Cup, which features both Argentina and Venezuela. Perhaps you'd like to share, because this was one of your innovations, and for the people at home, you'd like to share what the Aloha Cup is all about.
Yeah, the Aloha Cup, surfing is an individualistic sport, so, our risk as surfers is to become, selfish and self-centered. So the Aloha Cup, this is a team event, but you surf still individually. But the Aloha Cup is surfing as a team sport. It's completely different because your success is no success if your teammates don't succeed. So you really have everybody, working together. So it's 1 female and 4 male surfers that compete for an hour in a completely different format, and it's very dynamic. It's great for TV, and it has finality on a short time. Today we're having 2 semifinals, 1 hour each. And if we have the final, it'll be another hour. That means that you can have 8 teams in 3 hours produce a world champion of a tag team format. So I think this is very good because it's something that we would like to see more development of this at the national level, between regions, between schools, between clubs, and then take it to the international level. They have a place where that practice actually brings you medals.
Yeah, if you haven't seen an ISA Aloha Cup, make sure you check that out. It'll be at the end of today's competition. I should mention that we are starting a little bit later today because we are coming up to a low tide at around about 10 o'clock, and we want to have an incoming tide. So the tide is still going out. So we're starting competition, and it'll be repechage rounds all today up until the Aloha Cup, and so we'll be starting at 11 o'clock.
So 3 hours from now.
3 hours from now, or little less than 3 hours now. I want to ask Magnum for you firstly, your goals as a professional surfer, from Venezuela, but traveling the world, and also what you think the future of surfing in Venezuela is going to be.
Well, personally, I'm in a really interesting position because I'm, 38. I don't really think about age. I try to take care of myself very well and stay healthy and fit. But it's a transitional place for me, so I'm starting to get more involved and doing some social work with, our friends in Granito Arena, and trying to spread that throughout Latin America and hopefully the world. And besides that, also, I already have a few petitions to come and help, do some clinics, coaching and stuff like that. And it's interesting, because I really want to stay as a professional surfer for as long as I can, because I feel like I'm still getting better. And I just want to integrate that into my career and expand all that and just, do more things and try to give back like Fernando has done, and how a lot of us, when we get to this point, we're like, okay, well, it's time to give back and take all that experience and knowledge and see, I want to see a Latin American, non-Brazilian, because Brazil, it's done an amazing job, but we're a little bit behind them. I want to see a world champ. I want to see guys in the WCT or the World Tour, however it's called, and I think we're getting real close to it. So, and I think it's not going to be coming from only one country. It's going to be Argentinians, Peruvians, Costa Ricans, Venezuelans, maybe Mexicans too. So I really like that, and I think we all need to work together to push that and make it happen soon.
Well, judging by the talent that has been exposed at this ISA events, I'm sure that's possible. Sebastian, for you, it sounds like you're very, very busy already, but what are your goals and how do you see the future of surfing in Argentina?
Naturalmente el surf en Argentina va a crecer. Las expectativas que tiene Magnum yo creo que las compartimos porque todos queremos tener un campeón del mundo latinoamericano. Más que nada por el potencial, por el hambre que tiene el nacido en un país tal vez se puede decir tercermundista o no, del primer mundo, por las condiciones climáticas que tiene Latinoamérica, las olas que tiene, y yo creo que eso se va a dar pronto, depende del trabajo que hagamos.
Yeah, he's saying that he believes that it's something that is going to happen soon. Of course, it all depends on how hard we work at it. But when you look at wave conditions and you look at and many other conditions, it is favorable time. But of course, talking specific about Argentina, surfing is big and it will continue naturally to grow in the way it is. And as I used to, and now stopping the translation, I used to. Maybe 3 years ago, I took a very important surf industry person to Argentina. We were walking on the beach, on a big beach day in the southern beaches of Mar del Plata in the middle of the summer. So maybe 100,000, 150,000 people on the beach, just walking. And the guy's looking. I says, so everybody surfs here? I said, well, not really. I said, why? They all look like surfers. They all wear surf brands. It's like a surf culture. I said, yeah, it is. So in many senses, the beach culture in Latin America has become a surf culture. And I think that you can divide Latin American people on the beach in two groups. You can divide them in many ways. But on the beach, you can divide into groups. The people that surf and the people that want to surf. So there's nobody else, because everybody wants to either surf or wants to surf. That's how much the culture has evolved. You got to think that a third of the population is under 25. And out of 42 countries, 40 countries in the Americas have ocean, and the vast majority are in moderate to warm climates. So, in any place, that will be ideal surf, stars of surfing producing countries. And I think, I agree with what they're saying. It is a combination. The ISA in the last 5 or 6 years, we have worked very close with the governments of Nicaragua, El Salvador, Panama, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Peru. So the government sees this as something good for them. It's good internally, socially, but it's also good for them to create awareness about an important industry that is a no pollution industry, which is the tourist tourism industry.
And the Minister for Tourism for Nicaragua on the first day at the opening ceremony said that he expects surfing to account for up to 15% of the future of tourism here. Fernando.
And he knows why, because that's what the Minister of Tourism in Panama said that happened with tourism in Panama after 3 World Championships, ISA World Championships. So it is a combination, and when you consider the amount of government money spent on whatever causes, the amount of money that they spend on developing the sport of surfing is very small. You know, you don't need to build stadiums, courts, fields. It's all done. We just need to take care of it. You know, it's been like this for millions of years, and our job is to keep it like that for millions of years. Of course, civilization expands, and that poses challenges. But you can build 20-story hotels, or you can build 2-story hotels. It is how you build it, no? How you do it. I think in that sense, we bring a perspective. Surfers, you know, we enjoy our lives here. We love this place. We like it clean. We like it safe. So I think we're important stakeholders when it comes to how to make money with the beach.
And the beach down here is pristine in Nicaragua. You've got to come down here, and it's great to see the impact that the ISA is having and bringing these contests to the places. Fernando, I have to ask you, one of the great things that I personally enjoy hearing you say is that you like to focus not on the possible but on the impossible. So I want to ask you, what is your vision for surfing for the future?
I think, you know, it's a combination of having your feet on the ground, so you know where you're standing and you know your weaknesses and your shortcomings and your potential, and then keeping your eyes on the horizon. This is something that you learn from surfing. You're sitting on your board, but you're looking at the horizon. You're not looking at your board. You're not looking at yourself. So you got to keep that balance. In the case of surfing, I think that it's funny because my job as president of the International Surfing Association is perceived by many people as organizing world championships, but I see my job as waking up people to the power of surfing as a social, economical energy, as the power of surfing as a link between countries and bringing brotherhood and sisterhood between countries. I see that as a way to escape from endless hours of video games, TV, drugs, and all the other garbage that we are. It looks like food, but it's just junk that that the food industry throws at us. So in that sense, surfers, we're like guinea pigs of mankind. We're a little bit of like legionnaires, you know. We're out there in the foreign legion, which is the ocean and the beach, and looking for things that are betterment. So for me, that's what made me fall in love with being able to work at the ISA, and gives me the energy every day to wake up and say, I do my stretching, I do my exercise, I have my big glass of water, go surfing, and then it's time, to change the world. So for me, surfing is I've seen it here, I've seen it in Panama, I've seen it in Argentina, I've seen it in Liberia. The day that Charles Taylor, one of the worst dictators and murderers in Liberia and Sierra Leone, was sentenced by the International Criminal Court, that day, by complete coincidence, we received the final application for the Liberia Surfing Association to become a member of the ISA. So while some nasty people are going one way in the world, we're going the other way. So that's the function of sports. And then I wanted to explain or expand a little bit on that. This is a vision that came to me like a year ago during watching some big multi-sport event. And I realized that a lot of the sports that exist in the world are really military training. The Olympics started military training. It's like fencing, horse riding, fighting, wrestling, boxing, swimming, jumping, javelin, which is like a weapon, the ball, I don't know how you call it in English, the big,
shot put.
Shot put, the disc. These are all military training. And when you look at all those things, so those guys prepare for war. We prepare for peace. So surfing really, in that sense, is a sport of the future. It's like skateboarding or wakeboarding, or snowboarding. We're not against anybody or anything. We're just enjoying ourselves. And the essence of the sport, and this is something that is the reason I believe why surfing has become such a powerful force and such a magnet for people around the world, not just whites or blacks or rich or poor or any religions, all of us, everywhere, is because there is no in the activity of surfing is not really a competitive activity. You know, the essence of many of the sports, I mean, we talk about the sports that are like war type training, but then there's a lot of sports, tennis, golf, whatever, that you don't beat somebody. There's no sport. You don't play tennis alone. You gotta play tennis against somebody. So in that sense, you know, you go, you play tennis, and you might come home way more stressed out than you were before you went and played tennis because you lost or you're pissed off, whatever. Surfing, you go, you just paddle, you float there, you look at the fish, the pelicans are surfing the air that comes pushed by the wind, and say, I'm just lucky. So I think in a modern society, which is very stressful, everything is more and more stressful, you know, government, taxes, regulation, more people, everything. Surfing is a paradise. It's a little oasis that we carry with ourselves, and that's why also at this event, you know, I'm like constantly, my mind is thinking with me not telling my mind to think or giving direction. And I thought that what we need to do is we need to really promote body surfing much better, because body surfing is the ultimate and the original wave riding sport. You don't need anything. We all started. We were all body surfing waves at one point, you know. And so for me, that will be the way to take surfing to countries in which, you know, a board will be like buying a house. You know, in some countries in Africa, in some places in Latin America and Asia. So that's what motivates me. I see surfing as an incredible, powerful force for a better world. But as surfers, we also need to coexist with more crowded surf spots, because we're sharing our dream, then more people are dreaming. It's like, you know, oh, they discovered mate, Magnum likes mate, you know, like, so everybody drinks mate, and suddenly we need, like, you know, like, okay, we need to have more mate weed, you know, to be able to drink mate. So this. But I think for me, it's like, you know, you look at Nicaragua, it's a place that nobody really serves. I mean, a couple hundred local people and maybe a couple thousand in 1 year will come and visit Nicaragua. And it has waves, more waves than the whole United States together, you know, or more waves than Brazil. And all of them are quality waves, and a lot of them are offshore. So, you know, I dream about surfing in Africa. You know, when we went to China, I say, you know, 1.3 billion Chinese, there is 100 Chinese surfers, there's incredible waves, and these guys have been just working. China 4 years ago was one of the poorest countries in the world. They were really, really poor. Having a plate of rice was a success for the government, for every inhabitant. So now Chinese have wealth, and they need to learn how to enjoy life. There's no beach culture. And what do you do in the beach? Enjoy life. So that's what we do.
Great words, Fernando. Thank you very much. Well, we are going to get underway at 11 a.m. this morning. Before we go, though, I want to, Sebastian, off to you. Sebastian is competing in the Grand Masters competition. He's been one of the standout performers. If you'd like to say a few words to the people at home in Argentina.
Muchas gracias por el apoyo a mi familia, sobre todo, y vamos a seguir adelante dándole todo. Espero que las condiciones, el mar, que realmente ha demostrado que está de nuestro lado, siga acompañando.
I would like to thank, I'm translating. I would like to thank my family especially, and everybody in Argentina has supported us. And the conditions here have been really nice, and with these conditions, it's really good for us, and we hope that we end up doing really well.
And Magnum, 7th last year, in really good form this year, competing in the Masters division. You want to send a shout out to the people back home?
Sure. First of all, I want to thank the Federation of Surfing in Venezuela for making this possible and organizing themselves good enough so we can be here. The government for backing us up, and my wife, my family, my mom, brothers, sisters, and all of my friends that have been supporting us in line. Los quiero mucho, gracias por el apoyo y bueno, adelante, estamos felices de estar aquí. Thank you.
Magnum, Sebastian, and of course Fernando, muchas gracias, and we'll see you at 11 o'clock.